Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Linda Kenyon. A federal judge in Oregon has temporarily blocked President Trump from deploying the National Guard in Portland, saying this is a nation of constitutional law, not martial law. Portland Mayor Keith Wilson agrees.
There's nothing good that can come from bringing troops.
The Defense Department planned to put 200 members of Oregon's National Guard under federal control for 60 days to protect federal property. The president called the city war-ravaged. Oregon officials called that description ludicrous. In Chicago, President Trump has authorized the deployment of 300 National Guard troops after a clash between protesters and Border Patrol agents. The agents shot and injured a woman they said tried to run them over. She was treated at a hospital and released. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker has called deployment of the troops unnecessary and a performance that has little to do with actual safety. Indirect talks between Israel and Hamas are set for tomorrow in Egypt. CBS's Barbara Platt-Usher has details on some of the key issues to be resolved.
The Israeli government is worried that if Hamas does not disarm, then it will gain momentum. If Israel stops its offensive, then Hamas will be able to regroup, and they'll be wanting guarantees from President Trump on that. But these are exactly the issues that concern Hamas the most. They basically have no confidence that Israel will not restart the war as soon as it has its hostages back, and that's all Hamas's bargaining power. So they want Mr. Trump to guarantee to them that will not happen.
It is day 5 of the federal government shutdown with no end in sight.
Political leaders are digging in and showing no signs of compromise. Tens of thousands of federal workers have been furloughed, and the White House says it could fire thousands in the coming days.
CBS's Willie James Inman. Tomorrow is the first Monday in October, and that can only mean time for the new Supreme Court term to begin. CBS's Allison Keyes takes a look at some of the cases to be heard this term.
On the docket for the Supreme Court, major test of presidential power, including the president's imposition of tariffs and his battle to restrict birthright citizenship. 5 federal courts so far have rejected his executive order seeking to end automatic citizenship for the children of people in the U.S. temporarily or illegally. There are also cases on voting and the rights of the LGBTQ+ community. The conservative-leaning court has sided with the president on many legal challenges.
The Roman Catholic Archdiocese of D.C. and the John Carroll Society will host the 73rd annual Red Mass this morning, a tradition that marks the opening of the Supreme Court's new term. The liturgy calls for God's blessings and guidance on those responsible for administering justice. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Vanity Fair calls BritBox a delicious streamer. Collider says everyone should be watching. Catch Britain's next best series with BritBox. Stream acclaimed new originals like Code of Silence.
You read lips, right?
And Linley, based on the best-selling mystery series.
Dear Linley, take it from here.
And don't miss the new season of Karen Piri, coming this October.
You don't look like police.
I'll take that as a compliment.
See it differently when you stream the best of British TV with BritBox. Watch with a free trial today.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Some folks in New England are finding ways to cope with widespread drought conditions. CBS's Jim Crisula has the story.
Home wells are starting to dry up as drought conditions worsen across much of New England. Carrie Ordway is now among those without water in Topsham, Vermont.
It started about 3 weeks ago. We got to take some rain to recover.
Showers and laundry facilities at Waits River Valley School in East Corinth, Vermont, are being made available to local residents without water. Principal Carlotta Simmons Parentani.
We're well aware as community members, that this is a significant issue across our state, so any way that we can help.
Weather forecasters say there's little to suggest New England drought conditions will ease anytime soon. Jim Crisula, CBS News.
Landslides, a lightning strike, and flooding triggered by severe rainfall has killed more than 40 people in Nepal. Several others are missing. Linda Kenyon, CBS News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-384-9393. That's 800-384-9393. Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Sunny and very warm today with a high of 83, then clear skies tonight with a low down to 55. Remaining very warm tomorrow with plenty of sunshine, a high of 83. And for Tuesday, mostly cloudy and cooler with a thunderstorm around in the afternoon, a high of 69. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Brandon Buckingham, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The following is an editorial by KDKA Radio Senior Vice President Market Manager Michael Spacciapoli.
A proposal to classify high school football teams by roster size and winning records instead of enrollment is getting widespread pushback. Fox Chapel officials say they're asking WPIAL for realignment not only for competitive balance, but also player safety. Fox Chapel has recently asked opponents to shorten their games because the lack of competitive balance produces a greater chance for injuries. WPIAL officials will make the final decision on the realignment proposal. We suggest they allow parents and taxpayers to give their feedback. An alternative idea is for schools like Fox Chapel and Baldwin to leave the WPIAL and play opponents they're better matched with like Butler has done. Finally, there's the option of dropping football altogether. The sport need not be mandatory.
This has been an editorial by KDKA Radio Senior Vice President Market Manager Michael Spacciapoli. To view a transcript, go to kdkaradio.com.
Rob Frax on the voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
How are you today? It's a fun day Sunday. Great to have you back on KDKA. Well, the president plans to deploy National Guard in Illinois. That according to the governor of Illinois, who doesn't like it. Well, let me just say to him and to others, in case you haven't noticed, crime is on the uptick everywhere, even in our incredible city that is Pittsburgh. We have had murder after murder, gunplay after gunplay, story that has involved some sort of gun activity just about every day in recent memory. So imagine what it's like in those major cities like Chicago, New York, Los Angeles. It's deafening. That cry for, well, mankind to become a kinder, gentler kind of community is continuing to be the cry of citizenships from one side of this country to the next. But what has happened, our police forces continue to dwindle in numbers, and those who retire are retiring with no one to replace them. So what does our country do when the citizenship can't even mingle and walk the streets of their beloved city? no matter where it is, north, south, east, or west. What happens when businesses have to shutter, not because of the ability to do business, but for the fear of, yes, violence? All sorts of criminal activity happening. Blame it on whatever you want to blame it on. But the National Guard are people that sign up willingly, knowing that they can be in the line of fire or put into harm's way. That is what they do because they're patriots and they have love of country. And I know many people who have been in the National Guard, currently in the National Guard, understand what military service is all about. And I'm sure they have no problem if the president is asking them to step up to make it a safer place for America. Every day, they are willing to do just that during their stint serving their country as members of the National Guard. So what's so wrong with us actually leaning in and protecting people in this country? And I hear those who have the thought process of, well, you can't have the military running law and order. Well, there is no law and order in our country, and it has nothing to do with law enforcement. It has everything to do with the lack of protection. We see violence happening in our schools, in our places of worship, in our streets, in our businesses, in our homes, with domestic violence at an all-time high. And more times than not, the police, who are called to do everything humanly possible, and in many cases, and we recently have seen it, lay down their life to serve and protect. But what are we doing to serve and protect them? We're defunding police. We're not encouraging future generations to become police officers. And sadly, people don't have the respect that they need to have when it comes to police in this country. So I think it's high time that we do what is the most important thing. Protect our police by showing them that we care and giving them a backup, but more importantly, letting the National Guard be that extra layer of safety. That's what this country is all about, helping each other. All right, second thing this morning as we begin in the 5 a.m. hour. For economists who follow the job market, the first Friday of the month usually is like Christmas morning. That's when the Labor Department ordinarily delivers its closely watched report on jobs and unemployment. But the first Friday of October brought nothing but a lump of coal after the jobs report was postponed because of the government shutdown. Bah humbug, right? Well, listen. Maybe it's a good thing because the last numbers that came out that were steady at 250,000, and then the president questions them, they dropped to 750,000. Come on now. Who's really the puppeteer pulling the strings when it comes to these job numbers? And I've said it before, what type of jobs are we actually talking about? Minimum wage, affordable paychecks to where people can actually raise a family and live comfortably in the United States of America, the land of opportunity? Here's what I think's happening in America. I think someone is pulling the rabbit out of the hat and pulling the wool over our eyes. So maybe this will give us a chance when it comes to some of these government entities to reset the bar and to get back to the business at hand. Being truthful when it comes to rebuilding or retooling the workforce in America. Look, it is time for us as America not to start worrying so much about what the latest job numbers are and what's happening with the bulls and bears on Wall Street. That will work itself out. We have to find a way to start working with the citizenship to create a better work environment. But more importantly, giving people healthy paychecks so they can actually live in America. The thing that I think will come from this government shutdown, and I think it could be a little bit more lengthy than people give it credit for. Why? Because the president's not going to budge. He's not going to retract, go back to the big, beautiful bill and start slicing and dicing with a surgeon's scalpel to remove certain things that they don't think are necessary or that they, meaning the Democrats, think that are hurting the American people. And as you noticed, I use that surgical knife because health care is the big issue. Come on. If you give people a good paying job and you give companies in corporate America a chance to make money, healthcare is just healthcare. No one minds paying what they have to pay, the stipend every month out of their paycheck, when they're making a paycheck that after that money is, well, subtracted, they still have enough to be able to save for a rainy day, put down on that mortgage, get that vehicle that they need to get back and forth to work, put food on the table, clothes on the back of their family, and actually have a little bit of downtime. And here's something that's a novel idea. Actually have a little fun in America. The system is broken. Something has to happen, and that's why the president has done everything from DOGE to tariffs to this government shutdown by not caving in to the Democratic demand. But listen, Republicans are just as guilty. Unless they find a way to get together to solve this, once again, The only people that suffer are Democrats and Republicans that happen to be members of the greatest country in the world. So let's act like it and get this thing done and get the government up and running again. It's frustrating to me. It is so frustrating to me, the things that I see. But we will forge ahead. Couple of little things to munch on to kind of get you going with that morning cup of coffee. I'm going to get to the phones on the other side. You know how it works. Sunday mornings, we have 1 hour of open talk, and it really is the speed round. So we have just until 6 before we get into all of our Pittsburgh Works programming, and we wrap up with the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday show. So I highly urge you to give us a call. And by the way, this week we'll continue to talk about the budget impasse, already lining up some great guests for the regular Monday night show and Tuesday and Wednesday, 6 to 10. State Senator Devlin Robinson will kick it off tomorrow night in the 8 o'clock hour. So you're going to want to be here all week. We'll continue to follow this budget impasse and the government shutdown, which continue to be the two biggest stories in the state of Pennsylvania and the one, of course, in the United States of America. A lot of people being affected by it, and it's not just Democrats and it's not just Republicans. It's people in general. We deserve better from our public servants in America, so hopefully they can figure it out in Washington and get her done in Harrisburg. 5:15, quick break, back to take your calls at 866-391-1020. Next, good morning.
News Radio, KDKA, Sports.
Sports brought to you by Coons Market with 8 locations to serve you a Pittsburgh tradition. Playing a true freshman quarterback, Mason Heinzel, turned out to be the right move for the University of Pittsburgh Panthers as they were 48-7 winners over Boston College. Penn State, on the other hand, major upset. Number 7 Nittany Lions lost to previously winless UCLA with new head coach Rick Neuheisel's son, 42-37. Ohio State over Minnesota, 42-3. Duquesne Dukes defeated Stonehill. The Seahawks, 34-14. Head coach Jerry Schmidt today at 11:30 on the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday show. And Robert Morris lost to Merrimack, 24-7. Steelers off. Cleveland next week. Pitt volleyball today at noon. They take on Georgia Tech. Dodgers, a winner by a score of 5-3. Game 1 divisional round underway. Ohtani goes 6 innings and gives up 3 earned runs, but he strikes out 9, and he goes 0 for 4 at the plate with the Dodgers win. It was the Brewers over the Cubs 9-3. Detroit defeated Seattle in 11-3-2. Yankees got blown out by the Blue Jays 10-1. Through 3 rounds of the Sanderson Farms Championship, your leader, Kerry Higo, 18 under. He has a 2-shot lead, and the Riverhounds lost to Miami 3-1 last night. More sports, 93.7thefan.com.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at kennyross.com.
House stealing. It's a nightmare that's real. It's the FBI's term for thieves stealing your home's title and draining your equity. Just one fake document filed with a recorder, and scammers can own your home on paper, drain your equity, and do it all without you even knowing. Imagine waking up to a foreclosure or eviction notice. Listen to former title thief Matt Cox.
What people don't realize is the ease in which this crime can happen. I can take the deed to your house and I can transfer that deed into my name. It's a great crime, and it's happening all the time.
So how can you stop the nightmare and protect yourself? Find out if you're already a victim now at HomeTitleLock.com. Use promo code RADIO and get a 30-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, a title scan, and access to a title specialist, a $250 value. Don't wait. Go to HomeTitleLock.com now, promo code RADIO.
Tune in to 1020 KDKA Radio for Medical Frontiers with Dr. Gerald Pfeiffer from the Allegheny Health Network every Monday from 7 to 8 p.m. Dr. Pfeiffer and his special guests will cover the information that you want to know about your health and the latest trends in medicine.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, I got lots to tell you. As always, you can listen to us at 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDK or on the Odyssey app, AUDACY, but you can also watch us online, KDKA Radio video stream presented by Metropolitan Window Company. Just go to kdkradio.com and click on Watch KDK Radio Livestream. Or now you can just go to KDK Radio, our YouTube page, and watch everything that's going on in the studio. We have one line available if you want it, 866-391-1020. And you can also NASCO Roofing instant access to our shows. Click away. Email us at instantacces@kdkradio.com. Always love hearing from all of you. Let's talk to Stan, the man in McCandless, to begin today, our Sunday Fun Day, KDKA. Good morning, Stan.
Good morning, sir, on this Sunday morning, beautiful Sunday. It's great to talk to you once again, and just wanted to run something by you that's been something that I heard about the hostages supposedly coming home from for Israel. They're going to return home. Hope all of them are alive, and hoping. Did you hear any update on that? Are they back, or are they?
Not yet. I haven't heard. I don't think they're back yet.
Okay. Well, look, I'm glad to hear this, but I don't ever want to see any kind of negotiations to the fact that Hamas must never, ever be taken in possession of Gaza ever again, Rob. I think it was just so disrespectful when Benjamin Netanyahu was talking to the United Nations the other day, and all of them walked out on him. And these people, we need the United Nations like we need a horn head. I mean, these people just, they do nothing for us. They're not, an ally of the United States of America or Israel. So I just, I want to see them come back home, but I just think that, and I don't know where your opinion is on this. I don't ever want to see Hamas ever take possession of that property again in Gaza. When God made a promise to Abraham way back, that land was theirs, and then Israel didn't even have a place to live, Rob, from 70 A.D. all the way up to 1948, May 15th, 1948. And the United Nations, of all people, after World War II ended in 1945, they allowed them to go back into their homeland. The Jews never had a place called home for all those years. And so now, like I said, I'm glad to hear that they're going to come back. They're going to have a peace deal, but I don't ever want to see, including our president, and I love him very, very much, I don't never want to ever hear him say to Benjamin, hey, listen, man, you got to give up some of that property back to them again. I know this place is just a ruin. I don't know how anybody could live there. There's not a building that I know is even fit to live in, as crazy as it is. But that was the take I wanted to make from that.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I wish Hamas would have been stomped out, to be quite honest with you.
There you go. That's right. I agree with you. There you go. Hey, listen, maybe we find a quarterback there, Pitt. I was at the game yesterday.
Oh, were you?
Huh?
Were you? Nice. I didn't know you were a Pitt fan. All these years I've known you. I didn't know that.
Oh, I love Pitt. Me and my wife, we love to go to Pitt games, yeah.
Nice, man. I hope so.
I did. Well, actually, my son got the tickets because one of the coaches from Pitt, he happens to be know my son real well, and I got some free passes to go in there. So but regardless of that, we tried to buy tickets, but I'm just a guy. I don't have a smartphone, so I couldn't purchase tickets. But nevertheless, I got in. But hey, this Mason, man, he looks like the real deal. Now I hope he doesn't fall apart like we've seen in the past.
Well, let's see what happens. But I sure love the enthusiasm. But how about Penn State getting upset by UCLA? Gee, many Christmas.
Is Franklin ever going to be able to beat a Big Ten team?
Listen. Today on the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday Show, you're going to want to tune in. I'm going to start off with Ray Fittipaldo with some Steeler stuff. And then right after that, before I get to the victorious coach of the Duquesne Dukes, Jerry Schmidt, I'm going to really start questioning whether or not James Franklin is the guy to lead Penn State. They've had way too much talent to keep stubbing their toe the way they have. This is, if I'm a Penn State fan, I'm pulling my hair out of my head today.
Yeah, Penn State and obviously Penn State, we want to see them at some point in time beat Ohio State. That seems to be their big rival.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. The way these two programs are going, Ryan Day is like got them firing on all cylinders. Look, I like James Franklin, but they've had way too much talent. And look, I mean, they're from Pennsylvania. If my Pitt Panthers can't do it, I want them to do it. And when you look at football here with Pitt, Penn State, and West Virginia, you have to really wonder if we're ever going to be really in that conversation again. I mean, especially Penn State. If you can't win with the talent that you're getting and you continue to get every year, you may want to do the deep dive and think about, getting a new coach. That's all I'm saying.
I'd like to see Pitt, going back to Pitt, I'd like to see them build a stadium on their own.
They have to. They have to.
They need that. They just can't. Going down there is just, it ain't cutting it. They got to have a
and here's the thing.
Stadium on site.
Here's the thing. People will always look at Accushore as the Steelers' home. They will. And it's
right.
Never going to change. And that university is so important to this region for everything that they do in medicine and in law and just curricular stuff day in and day out. And it's a landmark. And Oakland is one of the most magical places on the planet. There's got to be a way to build like a stadium that seats like 50,000. There's just got to be a way to do that.
Hey, Rob, I was born there. Dan Marino was my neighbor. I was born in South Oakland.
Get out of here.
I lived right off of Parkview Avenue, buddy.
Listen, I've known you 30 years, Stan. I never knew, that's, in my opinion, and I've said it before, Dan Marino is the greatest quarterback I think that the NFL and college has ever seen. That's my humble opinion. And anytime I hear a freshman quarterback for Pitt, I hearken back to Dan Marino. What was it like growing up in that part of Pittsburgh?
Well, it was all right. I mean, back when it was called Fraser Field, of course, it later became Dan Marino Field, but I'll never forget the times when I used to watch Dan Marino playing for St. Regis, and when he was like in fifth, sixth, and seventh grade, I watched him play, and he could throw passes back then to a kid named Dave Degner that was a receiver for him. But Danny would throw the ball 50 yards even when he was like in seventh and eighth grade. He was just because back then there was no junior high. St. Regis consisted of 8 different grades. There was like 50 kids in a class. It was the most amazing thing. I just would get down Fraser Field. I only lived a block away, and I'd get down there watching him play, and never did you realize that he would be what he became. But that just goes to show you. That's why I love Saturdays. I love October. I'm a sports guy. I like a lot of sports. I support all Pittsburgh teams, all of them. Don't matter. And but man, it was really something. And then you asked me one question about growing up there. Well, them mills. I'd wake up in the morning and I'd see that J&L steel just pouring out. I'd look out over my window in my house and just look at that steel just pouring right there at the J&L mill. So it was something that was really, the air was a little bit different than it is today. People don't realize.
You remember Father DiCarlo down at St. Regis? You probably don't, but anyway.
I do. No, I remember a Father. What year was that he was?
Listen, I don't even know. But he spent a lot of time in Monaco, the church I used to belong. Really.
Well, I know this much. Every single priest that they brought in, because they would change them often, they were all Irish. If you weren't Irish, you weren't St. Regis.
Listen, Stan, I always love hearing from you, man. I'm glad you're doing well. So, are you finally retired now?
Oh, yeah, man. I've been retired. Listen, when people ask me how I'm doing, I'm saying I'm living a dream, bro. I'm living a dream. I am. Listen, I just turned 78 years old.
Oh, you're 10 years older than me. Well, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm an artifact.
You're important to me. So
tell you how ancient I am.
How ancient?
I've never owned a cell phone. I only have a flip phone, and I've never used a computer.
Listen,
so that's just my wife takes care of all that. She does the brains, I do the brawn. That's the way our team has always worked in my home.
There you
when
go.
I would go out there and I'd fix up
All right. I got
rental properties, etc. But listen, good talking to you, man.
All right, brother. Got to get to a break. You be good. Thank you. 866-391-1020. Hey, join us as we honor this year's Larry's hometown heroes, John Kolb, Vernon Alexander, Lynn Banaszak, Dwayne Brown, alongside our Life Achievement awardees, Lucas Pyatt, Jerome Bettis, Wednesday, October 15th, Rivers Casino. Tickets available now. This amazing, inspirational night, KDKA-radio.com. All right, so this is the thing that I want to talk to you about on the other side. Should we start thinking about running our country more like a business? And I'm not saying get rid of our Constitution and democracy and the Declaration of Independence and all the histories we roll into 250 and beyond, but maybe we need to start rethinking the cabinet, the administration, because honestly, if this government is the way we're supposed to follow the guidelines that were set forth by the Founding Fathers, they would have taken away the keys to the vault. Because we have bankrupted this country morally, mentally, emotionally, and financially. The current way we do business is not working. The business model is broke. How can we fix it? 866-391-1020. More of your calls. Coming up next, it's your Pratt Pack. Good morning.
Last month, my business cash flow got tight. Sales were slow, invoices were late, and payroll was coming fast. My business is everything, and people rely on me. I can't let them down. I applied online at lenseek.com and had business funding in 24 hours.
Business moves fast. Don't wait until it's too late. Whether it's lines of credit, term loans, working capital funding, or revenue-based financing, LendSeek is open for business. Apply now at LENDSEEK.com.
For generations, you've listened to us in your kitchen, catching baseball games on your front porch, and ending your day as your bedtime buddy. Now, you can watch us every day on your TV with our new KDKA Radio YouTube page, or by clicking on KDKARadio.com. It's presented by Metropolitan Windows. Same great content, more live visuals. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
CBS News Brief. A federal judge in Oregon has temporarily blocked President Trump from deploying National Guard troops in Portland. Mayor Keith Wilson applauds the ruling.
There's nothing good that can come from bringing troops.
In the ruling, the judge said, quote, "This is a nation of constitutional law, not martial law." Indirect talks between Israel and Hamas are set for tomorrow in Egypt. CBS's Barbara Platt-Usher with some of Hamas's concerns.
They have no confidence that Israel will not restart the war as soon as it has its hostages back, and that's all Hamas's bargaining power. They want Trump to guarantee to them that that will not happen.
Tomorrow is the first Monday in October, which marks the new Supreme Court term. CBS's Allison Keyes with some of the cases to be heard this term.
On the docket for the Supreme Court, major test of presidential power, including the president's imposition of tariffs and his battle to restrict birthright citizenship.
Voting rights cases are also included on the docket. CBS News Brief. I'm Linda Kenyon.
There's no place like home and no place you'd rather be than at Steelers Style, presented by your neighborhood Ford store, PNC, UPMC, and UPMC Health Plan. Be a part of the largest and most anticipated fundraising event of the year, benefiting Steelers fans. Get your tickets now at Steelers.com/Steelers Style.
Ouch! Checked from behind. Man, that's gotta hurt. I'd hire Morgan & Morgan if I were them. What? Yeah, Dan, America's largest injury law firm. They serve up justice, ice, cold, law. Know what I mean? I guess. Their gloves come off when they fight for you. Okay. I'm talking a settlement slap shot. Shouldn't we be talking about the game? Yeah, Dan. Morgan & Morgan. Proud sponsor of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Offices Pittsburgh.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Here's the latest from the KDKA Community Message Board.
Make plans to come out to Port the Park in North Park for a family-friendly beer and food event that supports the projects of the Allegheny County Parks Foundation. Port the Park is Saturday, October 11th at North Park. Details and tickets at portthepark.com. It's the weekly program that keeps you current with the latest travel trends and vacation values. Listen to AAA's Talking Travel every Saturday morning at 11 on KDKA Radio. The Pittsburgh Fall Wine and Spirits Festival is back Friday, November 7th at Rivers Casino. More than 200 wines, spirits, and craft cocktails all in one place. From bold reds to smooth whiskeys, this is the event for anyone who loves a great drink and even better company. The Pittsburgh Fall Wine and Spirits Festival, November 7th at Rivers Casino. Tickets are going fast. Grab yours now at pittsburghmagazine.com. Must be 21 or older to attend. Please drink responsibly.
Details at KDKA-radio.com.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Very warm with sunny skies today, climbing to a high of 83, then clear skies tonight with a low down to 55, and very warm again tomorrow with sunny skies, a high of 83. For the day on Tuesday, mostly cloudy and cooler with a thunderstorm in the afternoon, a high of 69. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Brandon Buckingham, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, back to it on Monday. Can't wait to be back. So much that we'll get into from over the weekend. Colin Dunlap, catch you Monday, 2 to 6, right here, KDK.
You know, honestly, like this whole jobs report thing that I alluded to in my opening monologue, it's a joke. I mean, the numbers never change until the president questions it, and then they basically get cut in half. But these jobs aren't jobs that people are able to take care of business, take care of their family. I mean, let's get real. We haven't really added any good jobs in America in a long time. The only people that are really adding good jobs, the building trades, the carpenters, electricians, plumbers, the steel industry, United Steelworkers, the United Auto Workers, the Teamsters. Those are the only really good jobs, and thank goodness for them. You know, I mean, and you wonder why there's declining numbers with teachers and what have you, because I think people are realizing I can go out and build things with my hands, make more money, have great benefits, and not put up with all the stuff that I have to put up with. I have never seen so much just anger as I have witnessed in the workforce, as I have witnessed in government, as I have witnessed in society. I mean, from road rage at an all-time high, domestic violence, gunplay, gun violence. I mean, it's just, we are literally so far removed from the country that I remember. And it's why, you know, when I think of what's happening in the rest of the world, we're talking about the Gaza with Hamas and Israel and Ukraine and Russia. We are so fortunate to live in this country, the greatest country in the world. We have so many gifts, so many opportunities, and we just get up every day and we find a way to screw it up. I mean, how can we be in Pennsylvania with natural gas, all of the opportunities, this incredible deal that got done between Nippon and U.S. Steel, and we have our government with no budget, and we have a governor who's blasting Republicans? Look, why not say, how about coming over and let's discussing this to the Republicans? Let's see if we can cut a deal and meet each other halfway. Why are we living in a society where we just keep banging on each other? Honestly, I can't tell you the last time that I actually witnessed any type of just moderate politicians or, you know, bipartisan politics reaching across the aisle. The only one that's doing it is John Fetterman. And the Democrats are thinking about running someone against him to get him out of office because they don't like the fact that he has a relationship with the president, or at least an open line of communication. I mean, what in the world are we supposed to do in America? Are we supposed to, like, my way's the only way? Imagine if that was the thought process back during the Depression or in the 60s. I mean, imagine if that was the thought process after World War II. I mean, you had a Republican president in Dwight Eisenhower who got probably more done in that 10 years than any president ever has. And if JFK lives, Vietnam is done. I don't think we lose our steel industry. I don't think we go through all of the things that we've gone through in America. And I keep looking for a savior or somebody who's going to make a difference. And you get somebody in office who's actually making a difference, actually doing stuff. And because people just don't like his attitude and how he goes about business and how he's rough around the edges, as any major business leader or chairman of the board or CEO or entrepreneur of epic proportion is. And you have, you know, Elon Musk now, his fortune estimated to be $500 billion, and people are upset with that. You should be doing cartwheels saying that somebody in America still figured a way to do it. I mean, somebody's still finding a way throughout all of the smoke and mirrors and all the ugliness that America really has been about. Somebody is finding a way to cut through the red tape and all of the anger and to create and generate. Think of all of the jobs because of him. in the space industry, all the satellites, Tesla Motor Company, it's staggering. AI, and where AI could take us if we just stop for a minute. And in Pennsylvania, with the natural gas, they're all going to be coming to us. You could see these power plants popping up everywhere like steel mills did back in the turn of the 19th into the 20th century. That could be the new steel industry. But instead of leaning in on it, we just keep pushing back on each other, saying, no, we got to do this, we got to do that. And by the way, that bill that you got passed so quickly that we haven't seen in a long time, your budget, because it actually was something that everybody accepted and moved on, we want to go back and we want to now mess with that to make it look like we were right in the first place. And if you do that, we'll be willing to maybe see if we can get you some money that we don't have. We'll write you a check that we don't have to make the government stay open. I mean, this is ludicrous. I mean, if you look at any story making news in Pennsylvania or in Washington right now, none of it makes any sense whatsoever. That's where we are in America today. All right, I've got Dorian in McKees Rocks, I got Ted in Mount Washington, and I've got Cynthia in Florida. And I just want to say one more thing. If we don't find a way to start putting people in office who start actually caring about the citizenship, this is what we're going to hand over to our children. This is what they're going to have to deal with. And I said at the bottom of the hour, maybe we need to start rethinking about changing how we run the government, run it more like a business, even look at cabinet positions and reshape and do things differently. They're going to have to, whether they want to or not, because this country will look nothing like it once was. Absolutely nothing. It'll be completely opposite from what it once was. That's what we're dealing with in America. I think I gave you enough to think about. Now let's get to the phones and have a little dialogue here. 866-391-1020. Here's Dorian in McKees Rocks with your Pratt Pack on KDK. Good morning, Dorian.
Good morning, Rob. The people have voted. They put Trump back in the position. All right, he's president again, and he's doing the right thing. It's just fill me in on this, or correct me if I'm wrong. I understand that the Democrats have the impasse because they want people who have not become citizens. Both my grandparents went through the system and became American citizens. They want the rights of citizens just paid for by our tax money when they're not citizens.
Okay.
Well, is that exactly what the impasse is at this time between the Democrats and Donald Trump?
Listen. Here's what it comes down to. It comes down to they want him to fail. They don't even care if the country fails. They just want him to fail. And it's not just Democrats. It's people in his own party. Everybody thinks that it's all Democrats. It's not. People don't like this guy, Dorian, because he doesn't do business as usual. He has literally reshaped the Oval Office to get things done. And I know people don't see it, and they keep bringing back all of the things that he did in his past life, in his first administration, in January 6th. We continue to look in the rearview mirror that we can't see the future because we're too stuck in the past. They don't want to see this guy succeed. And in the country I grew up in, once the election was over, the votes were counted, you at least until the next election supported whoever the president is or was. And we do not do that in America anymore. We just don't do it in America anymore. And to me, that is a rotten, dirty shame. And it's one of the reasons why we are where we are today. And if I have anything to say about it, I'm going to continue to try to make a difference. Mary Hours is here for a quick look at the First Alert 5-day forecast. So this morning, last couple of mornings, beautiful moon, nice kind of chilly temperatures a little bit. But from what I understand, as the day progresses, it's going to be a beautiful Sunday, is it not, Mary?
Yes, I know. Driving in, it's so different from the moon was glowing orange this morning, and it was huge. I loved it. Nice clear skies and a nice fall feel to the mornings because the afternoons are warm. It gets hot. So, yeah, we have another day in the low 80s today, sunny. Tomorrow, a repeat, low 80s and sunny, and then we finally get some rain on Tuesday. And then after that, it's going to feel like fall again.
Yeah, it's about time, and it's amazing. But you go to bed one night and you wake up the next and you find leaves on your sidewalk, and the next thing you know, they're on your porch, they're on your car. So obviously the weather is changing. So let me ask you real quick, when do you start really looking into the winter months and start wondering how much accumulation and all that stuff that could actually cause us a little bit of havoc in a few months? When do you start doing the deep dive on the winter weather?
So we've been actually looking into it the past couple of weeks. We always do our winter weather forecast in November, and I think we're actually taping it early this year. I think we're going to tape it in a couple of weeks. So our team is looking into it, and we're trying to narrow it down to what it's going to be. And it takes a lot. We have to look at the transitions, kind of what we missed last year, and narrow it all down.
So,
White Christmas.
Yeah, I know. It'll be here before you know. So with your children now growing, fall gets a little busy, does it not?
It does. Literally Friday, I was off Friday, and then we went to the homecoming parade my daughter marched in. Then we went to the Friday night football game, and then yesterday my daughter had cheer, and she was cheer captain at their football game. They won, and then I did my niece's homecoming, both of my nieces' homecoming hair and makeup, and then we went out to dinner with our friends. So it was just, it's just never ending.
And then mommy has to get up like at this hour to go to work while everybody else is sound asleep.
Yeah, it's a struggle this morning.
Listen, I get it. I respect it. I did it for years. I got dressed in the dark for 20 years, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Hey, have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks so much. You too.
There she goes, Mary Irish. Yeah, let me tell you, when my kids were small, I'd be tiptoeing around the house. It's a challenge, and when they get up in the middle of the night, they need a glass of water, they need this. You got to give mommy a break every once in a while, and honestly, it's a challenge, but man, I'd give anything to go back to have those kids small again. All right, short break. We'll come back. More phone calls waiting for your Pratt Pack as we continue on KDK in a couple of minutes.
It's the little things. The information you need. People you know. The little things that make a big difference. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA. News Radio KDKA. Sports.
Sports brought to you by Coons Market with 8 locations to serve you a Pittsburgh tradition. Playing a true freshman quarterback, Mason Heinzel, turned out to be the right move for the University of Pittsburgh Panthers as they were 48-7 winners over Boston College. Penn State, on the other hand, major upset. Number 7 Nittany Lions lost to previously winless UCLA with new head coach Rick Neuheisel's son, 42-37. Ohio State over Minnesota, 42-3. Duquesne Dukes defeated Stonehill. The Seahawks, 34-14. Head coach Jerry Schmidt today at 11:30 on the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday Show. And Robert Morris lost to Merrimack, 24-7. Steelers off. Cleveland next week. Pitt volleyball today at noon. They take on Georgia Tech. Dodgers a winner by a score of 5-3. Game 1 divisional round underway. Ohtani goes 6 innings and gives up 3 earned runs, but he strikes out 9, and he goes 0 for 4 at the plate, but the Dodgers win. It was the Brewers over the Cubs 9-3. Detroit defeated Seattle in 11-3-2. Yankees got blown out by the Blue Jays 10-1. Through 3 rounds of the Sanderson Farms Championship, your leader, Carrick Higo, 18 under. He has a 2-shot lead, and the Riverhounds lost to Miami 3-1 last night. More sports, 93.7thefan.com.
Have you been told there is nothing that can be done for your neuropathy? Tri-State Neuropathy Centers is pleased to tell you that is not true. With over 12 years of experience, Tri-State Neuropathy Centers are the experts in treating neuropathy. Their team of chiropractic physicians have successfully treated over 14,000 patients by utilizing the most powerful technology available. You're invited to a free educational peripheral neuropathy seminar hosted by Dr. Sean Ritchie of Tri-State Neuropathy Centers. Reservations are required for this 10 a.m. Thursday, October 9th seminar, conveniently located at the Monroeville Hampton Inn. Seating is limited, so reserve your spot today. Call 724-940-9000. That's 724-940-9000 to attend this free October 9th educational peripheral neuropathy seminar. Tri-State Neuropathy Centers, the leader in treating peripheral neuropathy.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-384-9393. That's 800-384-9393. Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Everything you need, every time you listen. 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
All right, the hour is getting away from us, so let's get right back to work on the phone lines. Here's Ted, Mount Washington, wants to talk about the economy. Ted, welcome to KDKA. Good morning. How you doing today, Teddy?
Oh, living the American dream.
All right, that's what I like to hear, man. Good way to start the day. Go ahead.
Hey, real quick about the president. Look, you ever heard a word called dissent? You don't have to like the guy in the office. I remember when you talked about Reagan, you couldn't stand him. So, you don't have to like the president. I mean, that's part of the freedoms that we do have. We don't have a king here. Thank goodness. We can vote the guy out. We can vote the guy in. It doesn't matter. We have a democracy. And I think sometimes we lose that as Americans. We think that you have to be loyal to the government. No, you don't. That's why we have a constitution. And thank God we have it. And I think we need to understand that that's part of our freedoms too, Rob. Part of our freedom. We can dissent against the government. We can say, hey, that government's wrong. Thank God for the Muhammad Ali's and, people like that who stood up to the government and say, you're wrong. And was proven right. So sometimes I think I don't know, maybe social media, but we need to dust off our Constitution and actually read it, read the Bills of Rights. Those things matter. And unfortunately, I think we have a lot of people who make up things and really don't read anymore, really don't understand our rights. And our rights are being eroded. But real quick about the economy, bad economics, man, bad economics. The economy is slowing. College grads is finding a hard time to get jobs. And I told you, I'm not a fan of tariffs. It never works. It sounds great, but all the time you pretty much ruin your own economy. We lost close to $19 trillion in tourism alone. And you talk to small businesses, they don't like paying extra for materials, Rob. They just don't. And he created uncertainty. You don't know. If you're a business, you don't know where to invest. You don't know if you should start a business. He's making it harder. And it's not right. Yeah, I understand why he's doing tariffs, but it doesn't make any sense. It won't last. And you should ask yourself, what happens when Trump leaves? What happened to the tariffs? He hasn't went through Congress. He's just doing it by executive order. And what happens when another president comes in? Executive orders, you can get rid of them. So it's nothing new he's really doing, and I just don't think it's going to last.
But here's the thing. Maybe it is time for us to rethink everything, how we run our government, because it's not working. You don't go from a balanced budget 30 years later to $37 trillion in debt unless something's broken somewhere. Or the politicians aren't doing enough to help the private sector add good-paying jobs because you have no cash flow. There's something wrong right now in America, and we have let it go on so long that I'm surprised finally it's starting to affect things that really matter to us, like a government shutdown, like our education, like our law enforcement. I mean, it's crunch time right now, Ted.
Well, real quick, Warren Buffett, you talk about running it like a business. He said he can pretty much figure out how to solve the national debt in 5 minutes. All you have to do, and I agree with him, if the GDP, if the debt goes above 3% of GDP, you can no longer, as a congressman, run for re-election. There you go. Okay? I'll never forget when you said that. And to me, it's the middle class. the problem with the big, beautiful bill, 70% goes to the 1%. Only 20% goes to the middle class. Rob, when is the last time the middle class has gotten a big tax cut? When the last time do you remember that?
Not very long time. 20, 25 years, 30 years maybe.
Yes, that's the problem. When you have government, big business, and special interests, they pretty much have a big influence about how the tax code goes. Until Americans realize that, we're going to suffer, because the one thing that's brilliant about Trump, he talks in middle class game. Excellent in doing that. But if you look at his policies, he's not for the middle class. He's part of the billionaires club, man. and that's basically what's going on. And he's no different than any other president. In the middle class, there's been a war in the middle class since I go back to the 60s, where it's just been demolished. And we like you said, we don't have a middle class.
It's been forever.
Until American people wake up to that fact, we're going to suffer.
It's been forever, and I don't honestly, I don't even see how it could return. I don't.
Well, if it doesn't, then you're going to have chaos. Basically, what you're going to have. When you kick out the middle class, all you're going to have is rich and poor, and that's what you got. You're going to have a permanent underclass.
Yeah, but you think even the rich people, would understand without a middle class, it's going to be tougher for them to make more money, because the middle class has been the driving force for helping rich America, corporate America make money. That's one of the reasons why you don't have corporate America thriving in the city of Pittsburgh anymore, because you have no middle class to support them.
Well, get the torches and the pitchforks, because that's where your revolutions come from. Poor people are always the
well, that's what that's what I've been saying for the longest time. That's why you have so many homeless people. People have just thrown in the towel. They're tired of fighting the system. A lot of those folks are the ones who were going out working 2 and 3 jobs, minimum wage, and those are the ones that get in those reports every month that are absolutely ridiculous. So they just finally said, I can't do this anymore. I'll be better off just fending for myself, living day to day, as opposed to having them hold me under their thumb. That's what's going on. There's already a revolution happening in this country, Ted.
You're right. And the firefighter and the nurses, and the cop, they don't get tax cut. Okay? And soldier who risk their lives, they don't get tax cut. And that's the problem. The living standards of this country has dropped. And we used to have a social contract that says that no matter what happens, the living standards in this country will not fall. And we're seeing it. They basically, they're basically destroying the country they love.
Well, I know one thing. If we don't do things differently, forget about the 300th birthday. We'll get by 250. Then after the big celebration on the White House lawn that the president's having, when you clean up, you can basically say that's the last time that we'll have any kind of celebration there, because the America that we know is going to continue to spiral out of control. Look, there's no way we make it to our 300th birthday. And I know a lot of people saying, well, our age, well, it doesn't matter, we won't be here. But you know what? I've got a little bit of skin in the game with my children and grandchildren. I'd at least like to have them have a fighting chance. And right now, I don't see it.
Well, you're great. I mean, the unborn don't get a chance to vote. And unfortunately, people say they're pro-life. They forget that part. You're supposed to be a steward of the country.
Well, here's the other thing. You're supposed to have a generation that actually wants to get engaged in the thought process. Young kids today don't really care, and then you have somebody who's trying to get them engaged, and he gets murdered in cold blood. It's crazy. All right, Teddy, thanks. Listen, I'm out of time. Busy day, but never fear. Your Pratt Pack back Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 6 to 10. We'll continue to follow the budget impasse. State Senator Devlin Robinson going to be here working on State Senator Kim Ward, so we'll keep you abreast of that and give you a chance to phone in with all of your thoughts. Rob Taylor coming up next with that 6 a.m. news.
The Big K Morning Show with Larry Richards.
Fox Chapel Athletic Director Michael O'Brien basically evoked the mercy rule. Fox Chapel's Athletic Director Michael O'Brien.
The mercy rule was invoked by rule in the second half at 35 points. So, it was just a matter of, really, we're talking about 8 minutes. The proposal that we put forth to the WPIL trying to help level the playing field.
Weekday mornings 5:30 to 10 on the Voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Honey, I found the perfect place for my parents and us.
Where?
St. Barnabas. For us, the Woodlands Carriage Home Community. And for my parents, condominium-style living at the Village. My folks will love the Village. There's an indoor mall with shops, restaurants, and more. And we can relax, knowing they're safe and secure.
That's what I plan to do when we move to St. Barnabas.
relax.
Call 724-444-5568 or visit stbarnabascommunities.com.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Tune in this Sunday morning at 8 for the Coons Cooking Hour with Rob Pratt and the Coons Market team, discussing favorite chili and stew recipes. It's the Coons Cooking Hour, presented by Coons Market, your hometown Pittsburgh grocer.
Many postmenopausal women like me have osteoporosis. There is no cure, but simple changes in our lives can keep us on the path to healthier bones. Osteoporosis can weaken your bones and slowly rob you of your independence. A daily exercise routine, along with a diet rich in calcium and vitamin D, can make a huge difference in your bone health. Taking care of your bones is necessary for healthy aging and lifelong independence. Learn how to start your own path to good bone health. Get bone health tips at pathtogoodbonehealth.org.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 56 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 6 o'clock. I'm Rob Taylor. A woman died in a shooting inside of a barbershop on the south side. That shooting happened Saturday afternoon inside the Bones Barbershop. It's on East Carson Street. Now, police say an altercation between 2 people occurred, and that led to the alleged suspect, Myra Carter, shooting the victim. Carter fled, but police eventually apprehended her. Carter's charged with criminal homicide. Pittsburgh police are handling the investigation. Police are investigating after they believe 2 people fired shots into 2 apartments in Aliquippa. That shooting happened Friday night around 10 o'clock at the Linmore Terrace apartments. Police say people were inside those apartments when the shots were fired, but no one was injured, and no suspects have been arrested. A man is in custody after barricading himself inside a home for roughly 2 hours on Saturday. That standoff began around 9:30 Saturday morning at a home on Geyer Avenue in Brighton Heights. Police say the man threatened neighbors with a long gun, and when police arrived, he refused to come out the house. SWAT team was called. Negotiators eventually convinced the man to surrender peacefully. That man is facing terroristic threat charges. Police in Tarentum are searching for a missing and endangered man. 50-year-old Alex Medina was last seen Friday morning around 8 o'clock. Anyone with information on his whereabouts is asked to call Tarentum Police at 412-473-3056. A federal judge in Oregon has temporarily blocked the Trump administration from deploying the National Guard in Portland, pending further arguments in a suit brought by local leaders. Loyola Law School professor Jessica Levinson is following.
A district court judge finding that it's more likely than not that President Trump exceeded his authority. Here, the court found that the necessary factual predicates that allow a president to federalize the National Guard were not present. The court also found, as a result, that this could amount to a violation of the 10th Amendment and undermine state sovereignty.
KDKA Radio News Time is 6:02. We have the AccuWeather forecast coming up.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Out here in the middle of these acres, it can feel like you're the only person on Earth. That's how it feels when you're struggling with your mental health. But you don't have to feel alone. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can